Why do you think a film like this is important, especially today, in reaching young men and helping them? I guess we're helping them discern, or we're hoping that we're planting seeds of grace in their heart so they hear that calling with a little bit more clarity. Maybe we're hoping that this film could add some sort of encouragement and persuasion that, yeah, maybe I do hear that call and go to the next step, which is important.
I think today more than ever, it's not in the minds of young men. They would never think of it, right? And I think, to use it as an example, women religious is even farther, right? Because we don't see them, and especially we don't see young ones out as much. Now, there's different young orders that are growing, and thank God that they're coming back, and that's amazing. There's some orders that are really exploding throughout the world, and all of them are super young, and they're passionate, they're vibrant, they love the Lord, which is amazing. But so too in the priesthood, we have less young priests than we used to. Yeah, we have to admit that. Now, I went to seminary with a bunch of young priests, so the way I see it is, oh no, there's young priests all over, but
right.
But the reality is we're spread thin, right? So, I mean, per capita, there are not a lot of young priests. And so for a young man looking to follow the Lord's will in his life, to see in that film that it is a legitimate option, and I could be one, right? Because I see men like me that are similar to my, it's not just a thing old guys do. No, this is a thing that God calls young men to,
right?
First and foremost, right?
Yeah, right.
And so that makes it a legitimate option when they start to consider that.
And I think you even say in the film, you kind of let the audience know that you join seminary, you don't have to become a priest. It's not like, you're climbing up to 14,000 feet and the door opens and you got to jump because that's the rules for the parachute place and you're getting pushed towards the door. You say people leave all the time, that you could leave a day after, 2 years after, 3 years after.
Or the day before.
The day before.
And guys did that.
Yeah. And so to know that it's, it's something almost in a sense, I don't want to get into hyperbole here, but it's something that like every man should consider going to seminary just to kind of
absolutely,
lack of a better word, like rule it out, like, and to kind of involve yourself in stillness and silence.
Yeah,
because it's really, really difficult to do that these days.
And actually going into seminary, when I started at Seton Hall, at St. Andrew's Hall, which is the college seminary at Seton Hall, the rector, when I had my meeting with him, he said something to me that really encapsulated how the church sees seminary formation, that either way, it's a win for the church. We get a good priest, a holy priest, or a holy father. And so nothing is lost. The church doesn't regret that time that man has spent in seminary. He has learned so much about the faith, so much about the spiritual life, right? And had an opportunity, like you said, to grow in holiness, have the time to sit in silence. I mean, as a young father yourself, Ryan, I'm sure you know, it's like you don't get a lot of time quiet and to pray alone. But that's something that's afforded. It's an opportunity that's afforded in seminary, which I think is critical for any man who's in formation. And I think too, I've heard people say as well that, yeah, when you date a girl and then you say, actually, I'm called to be a priest, then you break two hearts, right? When you discern the priesthood and then leave, nobody's heart is broken, right? And then end up getting married, right? So I think in a way, the first thing should always be, am I called to a celibate vocation? Because that's really hard. Now, maybe hearts aren't always broken, but it's nonetheless a very difficult situation. I know friends that have gotten engaged or close to being engaged and then said, the Lord's calling me to a different kind of vocation. He's calling me to celibacy. And that's difficult no matter what. And so, yeah, I think every man should contemplate it at least as a legitimate option for himself.